So, hello, ladies and gentlemen, my name is Mark Worley, and today we're going to be doing. So, I got the 27-inch monitor, like I said, right, and like 124 is here, and one is here, and one is in front, and this two screen. But the thing is, like, these two screens is like right now not connected, and the answer for that is that I didn't knew that my like I bought the HDMI to USB connector, but I didn't knew back then that my laptop didn't support like video transport or something output through the USB, right? So what I need to do is like you have to buy this what is called like a display link or something that could allow you to like link it can like my laptop can link one display but it can link multiple displays, right? So that was the thing I didn't know about. So like yeah, I had to actually buy that, and that's gonna come by Friday. That means it's gonna come like 2 days later or something. So you get the gist. Let me just increase the volume. So it's gonna come at home 2 days later. That means you guys would be, or we would be able to kind of like get what we want 2 days later or something, right? So yeah. So 2 days later, like yeah, we would have a full monitor setup running. I already have plugged everything, and the system is already set. That's why, if you can know from the past videos, like a camera angle is slightly different compared to the past video. It's slightly upwards. I couldn't get it lower because the thing was like there's a monitor right now which the camera is supposed to be. So I had to take the camera slightly upwards or something like that. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So we are gonna be working on our okay. So let me just show my screen. So we were right now, like I think I have to increase the time or like the amount I study. Right, like I need to actually get into afternoon studying periods where I actually build more of the stuff because I think we are kind of like really slow when it comes to and reading. We are not slow, understanding we are not slow. We are updating our system, gym, diet, everything is going perfectly fine. But like my main business is not getting more out. It's get just like 3 hours a day or something, right? I mean that's how much time 3 to like 5 hours like but I think I should hit 8 hours a day or something with my business, right? Because it's like a business, right? You see my dad and everyone people around there like are they working entirety of their days just for the systems or the things they're actually like businesses like they're working on ideal room temperature design, right? So yeah, we did got the ideal room temperature, and I think we did got, let me just open up Android emulator. And I think what I am like no, not this, this is like the exe file. I did save it here, right? Oh yeah, Studio 64. And there's another thing I would love to say is like I think my 16 GB of RAM for a laptop is not enough. Like this has graphic cards, this laptop, so like yeah, if you're running a game or something, you won't get into problem. But I didn't knew back then that I'm gonna stream or something, so I'm thinking of increasing its abilities to per se um like 60 sorry, not 64, it doesn't even support 64 gigs of RAM, 32 gigs of RAM, right? It's an old laptop, 3 years old or something, right? And back then it wasn't the best of its kind. Virtual device manager, let's run this, let's minimize this. Okay, the IDE is not connect. I mean they did told me the IDE installed Xfix command input at start like cd autonomous. Right. I mean, so yeah, this is how they told us to navigate or something. So like command prompt or PowerShell, like yeah, Control C, maybe Control V. This did open that. Enter, right? Autonomous. Okay. And the first is D switches your terminal D drive. Like yeah, start your expo version if you are mp.expo.start, right? Oh yeah, we did need to read the explanation or something. This file. Oh yeah, this is different PowerShell. Like PowerShell takes different. Yeah. Command. That was like the command for. Okay, starting. Yeah, it's starting finally. Let me just increase the size of everything on the screen. Right. I mean, because like yeah, the monitor size screen like yeah, but still my eyes can see only this much, right? The quality of the image is like, or the screen is like 2K or something. So yeah, it's kind of better than the past. So yeah, the any update tonight and no other packages may need a run XP install. Okay, it has run already. Press A to open Android emulator. Let's say go with A. Right. I do need these bad boys here, but yeah, we're gonna get a screenshot of them just in case. Because like yeah, I do always forget. Not a screenshot actually, but yeah, you get the gist. Okay, close app. Let's just go close app. Right. I did. It should connect. Temp app. Like, yeah, it is connecting finally. For fuck's sakes. And let me just like, yeah, give it this like is it lagging? Maybe it is. Like, I need to get 64 gigs of. Oh, sorry, not 64. Like, I would love to get 64 if my laptop just supported for RAM slots or something. In the future, I'm definitely gonna get a 4 RAM slots. Right. Is it just me? Schedule call temperature. Like, yeah, so it kind of Android boulder show commands. I think, yeah, it is connected, right? It is connected. Right. So, okay, yeah. I'm male. My age is 28. Height is at night. That sleep schedule at night. Temp preference call. So recommend the ambient room temperature 22.6 degrees Celsius Fahrenheit equal to setting that equal calories. But this is like, yeah, this is like, but rooms like at 26, when you are, rooms continuously get colder and colder and colder, and like depends on the watts of the AC. Right. That's why we need like a, what they call it, like today we would be, or tomorrow, was it tomorrow or was it today? Let me just quickly check Amazon. Maybe it was today, like the one that will allow us to connect our what they call like here, like, yeah, we would be getting jumper and male female wires. It's like ours, right? So this is arriving today. So once we got that, we will be able to connect jumper wires with our, like, yeah, and we have transmitters or something. So yeah, IR receiver and IR blaster, right? So like our transmitter, right? So we need to connect IR, like, yeah, with our API. Like, yeah, we do need to, like, build this, but first of all we need to build hardware, all right, for the things. And after that we need to connect our hardware with our softwares or something related to that, right? Like now my table has a lot more space, yeah, because I reorganized it pretty efficiently well. So it would be easier to connect the hardware now, way much more easier. Okay, ESP32 has already been linked. We do need to connect like IR, like what they call, not receiver, transmitters, right? So I've got an IR transmitter. Like now we need ChatGPT and his guidance to kind of like do that. So it was like, we need to go to our SaaS business and we need from there to kind of like connect like these systems together. And then we need to create software. But first of all, we need to create like first remote control or something, right? Right, branch, AC, my AC setup, right? This is like never true. Like it's like I'm always leaning here rather than leaning there. It's because of the design of the fucking chair. Or maybe it's because, it's perfect. It's just that from front angle, it looks like, no, I am definitely leaning slightly. Now this is perfect. But yeah. But then I get that, so yeah, it's like this or something, right? But it would always, from there, would appear sideways. That's another thing I didn't know. So I guess I am slightly leaning like this, slightly or something, I suppose, which is all right, I guess. Yeah. But if you get back to work, we were like, yeah, branch, span, ACs. If I were, no, this is two. If you're planning IR transmitter with the predict side login, like that's basically an IoT architecture. Oh yeah, I did ask you what the fuck is IoT architecture or something. Thing, yeah, we do need to wait for the jumper wires or something before we connect this. But okay, wait a sec. Oh yeah, this was like the setup, Android IDE. Like I forgot that literally. Yeah. Arduino IDE. And yeah, we need to actually look at our task manager too. Right, as for like why we are looking at it, we're gonna go to CP. Like, okay, so as you can see, we are already using the upper limit of our memory, and all we have open up is like Android IDE, this, like, yeah, so I think this in itself, like, yeah, 15.5, right? So we are constantly hitting like the top of our, yeah, we are using our CPU, we are GPU, we are also using our GPU, what? Like, which is okay, which is kind of good. Like, yeah, since the GPU is getting used, like it hardly gets used to 3D video encode, dedicated GPU memory, shared GPU memory. So yeah, so we are also using GPU too, which is good and great, which kind of like decrease some load on the memory. But you can see we are constantly reaching the upper limit. We have like 16 GB DDR4 RAM, and we are constantly hitting the upper limit. So now you guys know we need to add another 16 gigs of RAM, right? Or two 16 gigs of slow RAM, because like, yeah, to now reach the upper limit of multitasking, right? So I think 32 would be more than enough for the next 2 or 3 years, because I don't think so. I would be multitasking more than this actually. So the next upgrade is not 3 monitors, but adding more RAM to my laptop or something, right? Dev ESP do dev module COM9. Okay, it's kind of like open up the sketch or something. Like, yeah, I think, okay. That just makes things easier for me, right? Right, so you have like a, okay, where is it? Yeah, so you have like an open-end array, so like both ESP2 dev module, yeah. 9 where's it? Like, yeah, I can see it's lagging, yeah. Zero monitor, total monitor, yeah. And verify everything. This is like the code, if you see. Right, so if we can definitely connect this to our, what they call it. And AI, and things are definitely lagging. So let me just put aside like unnecessary load onto my system that is not needed. But I guess we do need like a more RAM, and we do need more RAM. I think the RAM 16 GB is pretty much more than enough with when I'm on my like, yeah, on like, you know, like on reading days, right? It's kind of like more than enough. But when we are on like our coding days, I think that's when you need 32. And I think GPU is like pretty much good enough. All we didn't need is like say 24, even 24 GB RAM would be more than enough. I'm not kidding at this point. Serial monitor shows nothing, right? I think this is the point with the serial monitor. It takes time to kind of like get updated or something. Serial monitor, let's just hope it shows something. Haha. Oh yeah, I think, oh, I do remember now. We need to press EN if it doesn't work. Yep, it shows it. So we have connected, like, yeah, and now it should also start receiving, you know, signals automatically. Don't tell me I had to reconnect the signal part. It's not receiving it yet. Okay, damn, it always works like that. So maybe this would make it receive. Oh, my phone is low battery. What the hell are you saying? Our receiver is ready. As you can see, it says our receiver is ready. Oh, my phone is just 2%, and my stream is connected with my phone. So let us just charge our phone real quick here. It's charged. Right. So is my IR receiver working? It is successfully not working. Okay, this IR receiver hardly ever works. I mean, it does work. I'm not saying it doesn't, but for some reason, I don't know the exact position it works in. It isn't working. Wait a sec. It's still not fucking working. What? Okay, I really don't know what's not making it work. It never works in the first try. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Do I need to remove it and add it sometime? It does receive the information. Let's just hope it still receives it. Okay. It's not receiving it again, guys. It's not receiving it again. We accidentally got our IR receiver disconnected. Okay. Let me try to upload serial monitor. And let me just EN real quick. Okay, our IR receiver is ready, but it's not taking in signals. It does that every time, every fucking time. I don't know what causes the problem again and again. I really have no idea. Okay. Okay, by the way, if you want to see what my damn IR receiver is doing, you can like, okay, can I not go below than this or something? Yeah. You can pretty much see this, right? So I am trying to connect my IR receiver here. So I think you guys would be able to see it efficiently, like what I am trying to do here. Okay, it still doesn't get the data. So I'm kind of trying to just move this little thing here to get it in. It's still not taking the signal. Okay, it's not taking the signal. 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 Well, it's not taking signal at all. For some reason, I do know it should be taking signals, but it's not. It's just not. Or maybe it's because I'm not sending it from the front. Nah. It just doesn't take signals a lot of time, man. What's wrong with this shit? If every day like ESP2C board is connected neatly, like this little bitch always causes problem, guys, for me at this point. And we have to connect this bad boy too here, right? Like, yeah, as you can see, it's like a really small thingy, which is called like a, like if you can see, like it's called BME23 or whatever you want to call it. Right, so we just put aside, and then we need to get IR transmitters, right? So we need to go to ChatGPT and like, yeah. And let's just put it out in the branch. Soldering kit, like, yeah, I would need a soldering kit. Sorry. Yeah, this is here. Needs, I can see, like, yeah, I can also see that the pins are not soldered yet. By the way, does Arduino have like, okay, it still haven't received any fucking signal. If we remove the serial monitor and we go to tools and yeah. Ah, it does send its signal now, finally. It still doesn't sending signal, but if I try to take it out, like this, it does send signal when I try to take it out. That means it just barely works when it's not tightly inside the system or something. Like this. No, it's once again not working, but I do know for sure that it works when I try to take it out. Wait a sec. See, I just knew it just works. Something like this, I guess. No, okay. But each time I can't take it out and can't. Should I slide it in? Would it send signal again? It didn't send signal, but now if I take it away, it will send signals. Yep. Right. So how do we actually manage that? so that it kind of like effectively sends signals. Right. No, we just won't. But I can't always put it inside and then remove it, right? What if I tried this new IR transmitters that we have, right, guys? Like IR receiver and transmitter. Let me just try them for a sec. Here we have like one IR transmitter, one IR receiver. Not this one. This one's kind of broken already. Like the one that is in most optimal health, I suppose. Let's go with that. This one. And then we need something that reads that information. Oh my gosh, we need to build so much stuff, man. Wait a sec. Yeah. Okay, I shouldn't be doing that on live stream, but okay. So we got the IR transmitter and IR receiver, right? So now let me ask ChatGPT how to actually build up that, right? But first of all, we got BME2, right, or something, whatever they call it, right? I do need to work so desperately, man. Like, is it sending now? What if I change the transmitter? What if I connect this with the male bumper wires? Right, so we can have like a right, guys. Right, so now if you send information per se, yeah, it's not receiving it in real time, but let's see, yeah. And then we have this too. Like, how do we connect this though? Per se, like, yeah. Do I really need bump the jump Win 3v3 GND SDA? How would I know which one is what? GND SCL SDA. So shall I be able to send signals if I connect it like this? 3. Could you highlight the ports that are in my, like, yeah? On my ESP32 hub, like, yeah, highlight them. And, like, yeah. Oh, man. Should I have just leave all this and should have just focused on, like, a software or something? Like, yeah, designing software or something like that in specific. Could you generate a prompt for me to copy paste into my anti-gravity IDE? Something that allows it to build this kind of system. We would build like okay, what the fuck did it highlight? It dumb. Oh, I think it highlighted the wrong image, but CVT-GND is here. Right, and then we have like a SDSCL, which is okay. Let me just zoom in the picture. What I'm doing? Okay, I can't zoom in the picture for some reason. I can definitely zoom in. GPI SDSCL, which is like here. You marked the wrong image, ChatGPT. You marked the wrong image. I do know that. I thought I could just. Whether did Android receive? Like, yeah, it still didn't receive any information. It still marked the wrong image because that's the only image it had. But I am kind of smart, so I'll just fix that problem in a sec. What the fuck it is? This is not the entire picture, bitch. Oh yeah, this is it. SDA, SCL. Wait a sec. SDA, SCL would go with what? D21, D22. Okay, okay, babe. I get that. I get that. Hmm. It doesn't says the serial monitor is disconnected, right? Okay, now it's working. I did realize, like the ones that I was using, it wasn't. This was the breadboard that was the problem, guys. So the problem was is that the here side, it was like if you go too deep, it gets destroyed and the pins get inside. So it's like the three things that were there were destroyed. It wasn't the IR receiver or anything. It was just like yeah. So now it's pretty much working efficiently, right? So we got that. Now we just need to add this and somewhere like this. Right, anywhere. It doesn't really matter where you put them. Somewhere like this is just connectivity that matters. Right, and then you have like a. So ChatGPT told me where all the things should go, right? So it's like SDAC, DND, DND. Okay, so we have like a when that goes to 3v3, right? Okay. It marked the wrong part, but then again, it's all right. 3v3 go to when? Okay, but I have another great idea. I finally see now what was the problem. We do need a soldering kit though, but yeah, to win goes to 3v3, right? Win goes to 3v3. It's plugged. Goes to 3v3 here. 3v3. I need male-to-male wires, man. I just can't go with this shit anymore. Oh no, I thought I. Oh, okay, this fall with it. That's a risky thing to happen for me. And the GND goes to GND, right? So this goes to like the second or something. So it's like. What is this? This is an animal that kind of like got stuck in it. Fuck that. This goes here, right? This one though apparently goes to SDA, right? Um, SDA goes to D21, D21 and D22. Okay. Right, this goes to D21. Right, D21, and then finally goes to D23 or something that finally goes to SEL that goes to D23. Let me get one more jumper wires, or whatever the wire you want to call them. If I grab it like this, get it like that. Okay, what's happening? Please get inside, buddy. Every one of your ancestors did get inside easily. And if I have this, which goes to D23, D22, not 23, sorry. 3, and all right, so we have got the entire system connected, and we just need to get our when gene you get this like this. All right, and if we have this system, I think now everything should be working. All right, so first of all, let's ask what they gave us. Receiver, okay. Arduino, but this is IR receiver, right? IR remote. Okay, this is kind of risky. Let's just put it here sideways so that I could type and do certain stuff with typing. Right, this to here for a sec. Yeah. Arduino. Arduni. Okay. And they told us to download certain specific things, which was like we can have what those certain specific things were, guys. As of now, they were like, okay, we can. Yeah, but I think okay, no, the wiring. I think they did after the header pins. Like, yeah. Library. Install. Okay, yeah, we need to install. First of all, we need to go to. Okay, we need to shorten this up a little, and we need to go to where? Adafruit DME library. Okay, is this the library? Yeah, library manager and unified sensor. I think, yeah, library. So we go to Adafruit BME to it. Yeah, install all. Right, so this is installing, and then we need like what else? Adafruit unified sensor. Okay, first of all, it's gonna get that installed, and only then we will be able to see different stuff like that, which kind of makes sense, right? So yeah. BME 280. Love taken. Praise it. This is the code. Extended serial monitor up BME itta 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 IR protocol itta itta. Yeah, but I think we need to add like IR transmitter, right? Right, so we add this here. Okay, it's still downloading. I should have said that downloaded earlier, a lot earlier, but now let me just add. How do I add IR? Add IR. Now finally, how do I add IR transmitter? Right, so with this we can have like now the interesting ones: AC remote, IR receiver, ESP through BME3, IR transmitter, AC taken AC. Yeah, we have a receiver. We have like everything. Yeah, enough to get started. I don't connect it directly if you want reliable range for a good prototypal one. What is that? Ah, but I'm currently going to connect, and then you need a resistor. I mean, why it's becoming more and more complex? I'm not gonna do all that, honestly. Mm-hmm. Nah, nah, this is too much. This is wrong prompt. Let's get back to work. GPIO 14 IR receiver. Your final when everything is Wi-Fi communication because you're moving on. One suggestion: each layer gives you a working system to build on, which with everything simultaneously. No, actually, right now I just want to connect like a simple IR transmitter this directly to thing. Like, yeah, I don't want good range right now. I just want my IR transmitter to be connected to mine. Like, yeah, I don't want to buy new stuff. Like, yeah. And if you can send it a picture, let's take a photo. But I think we cannot like open up our camera because like of like okay, it's been used somewhere else. That's why we can't use it. But we can change the camera. All right, and change it to my laptop one. All right. You guys won't be able to see my laptop one, but like, yeah, But I guess the problem with ChatGPT would be like, yeah, okay, I cannot use the laptop's camera because yeah. So if you can't use it, then we got no choice. But to use our phone camera. I think the problem with this is like, yeah, it's just too much. So it's just like trying to make everything in a single sentence: indoor temperature, indoor outdoor temperature. But first of all, we need outdoor temperature and outdoor humidity. All right. Like, yeah, time of the day, room size. Okay, all I want you to do is just generate a prompt that to ask like the AI to actually create an API or something, or maybe like fetch outdoor temperature and outdoor humidity of the city and the time of the day, right? And if there is direct sunlight exposure or not, and get some information about AC or something, right? That's all I want you to do is generate a prompt regarding that, nothing else, right? No room size, no building type, nothing else. Just, yeah, just these basic structure or things. Right, and now let's get back to this photo. Let's take a photo of our IR transmitter. Mhm. I do need multiple monitors. I have to say that a million times by now. I've said that a million times by now, honestly. Yeah, I think I should have like this. Yeah. Add now all I want you to do is tell me how to connect this IR transmitter right now in this moment. That's all I care about. The simple IR transmitter without any like heavy equipments that you're talking about. All right. Like, it's all right if the range is not the best, guys. I mean, it's really all right. And let's just give like our anti-gravity IDE some work to do. The humidity feels like temperature, weather conditions, any direction of day and night, if possible, whether the sun is above the horizon, sunrise, sometimes some current times one city name that. How to use a reliable weather API. Yeah, so we have like a something to give our IDE to work upon. This is just too fucking big. Yeah. All right. So what we were doing, guys? Where is my OBS? Yeah, it's here. I just need to kind of like look at it time to time. Just a standard. You can absolutely test it with the transistors for now. The range will be short a few tenths of centimeter to maybe a meter, but it is enough to verify that it works. A long look is the positive anode and the is cathode. Like, yeah, so I think we do not need IR transmitter because like for now, because yeah. I congratulations guys. I've done another thing is like I didn't brought up a single like a water bottle. Like I do have a single bottle here, which is kind of good, but then again, as for the rest, it's not. Yeah. So like yeah, D4 as a transmitter. If you are or if you have it not register, it would be better to wire something like connect the LG CVC directly. Don't reserve the light lag. But I don't think so. Like, yeah, like ChatGPT said, it would work within a meter. That means we do not have a strong system yet. That means we need to buy a couple of more things and get it connected to our ESP32 once again. My gosh, it's always more and more stuff that's kind of like keep on going and on and on. Right, but first of all, we need to test our, what they call it, like, before we connect that, we need to test our temperature. Right, okay, how much, why it's taking so much time? It's still going on, wait, what? And we need to get this code too, and above this code, we're gonna add like a control V. All right, we're gonna upload. It's still processing for some reason. If you can see, I'll show it like this. It's still processing. All right, it's still processing for a long time. It's been going on for long. Done uploading, compiling switch, but it's like still processing. Do we just have to wait, or shall I close the IDE or something? But like, yeah, it's like compiling sketch. And shall I cancel user bot? But this is still stall. This is the latest version and it's still stalling. I don't know why. We would have to wait and see, man. We would have to wait and see again. All right, and so we did got a, like, yeah, but like, yeah, let's just add that as a control V, because like, yeah, this is the and it kind of like connects that. So okay, but what if I want the app? Okay, but ChatGPT, what if I want the app to generate a response that only I can see, not the user? How do we do that? I see. So you can have that. Oh, it's still not installed. I don't know what is happening. Should I close the app and open it again and try to test out if it's downloaded or not? Okay, but yeah, before we do that, let's go to Antigravity and let's just run this. And once again, what I want you to do is like create an entire new explanation too, which adds like what you have done, what you have added, and stuff like that. Like, yeah, in like explanation.txt that I can read, right? Or MD, doesn't really matter, right? And this system is disconnected with the with the first system we created, right? Like I've created like one dot weather check folder, like create the system inside that folder, right? And like yeah, keep the system separated because like yeah, they will connect later. Right now they won't be connected. Where did they fucking paste the shit? Don't tell me it pasted in browser. It pastes nowhere. Okay, we need to add Whisper Flow. Okay, so now it's start gonna work on that shit, so we don't have to even think about this shit anymore. Cross view shit. I need multiple monitors again and again. How many fucking times do I have to say that? Like yeah, by the Friday we would have the connector that would allow us to connect or something. Like yeah. And we do not have like an Android IDE. We do not have this installed yet. What's happening? Let me just close the shit and open it again. Got a message? No. Yeah, it is installed. Well, it does shows installed. Yeah, that's great. Adafruit library is installed. Like, what else did we have to install as far as I remember? Not this bitch, not this bitch. I need multiple monitors again. We pasted the code, right? That the final code. But I guess we did needed another thing for it to run. Okay, actually, we kind of like skipped it. We kind of like skipped the main thing. Yeah, unified sensor. Okay, this one. That's just the thing. We need to find it. Control C. Let's just go to. We already have that installed too. Right. So we already got that installed. We already got the code running. Right. So you've got that. Then test it with this one. Question to you. Without soldering. Right. So now if I run this, if I upload it, not on serial monitor, let's just close this bitch. Compiling sketch. It's uploading finally. If this doesn't work, we'll remove what they call Adafruit library or something, and then we'll try again. Oh yeah, so it's finally working, huh? Building everything in like the weather or something. And then it's building another explanation. But for now, we need to read this explanation. We need to get going with that, right? So, right. So human thermometer, a biophysical of ideal room temperature estimation. This document provides a comprehensive analysis of the biological and psychological thermometer. The project avoids the ideal room declined utility. Yeah, what is the estimates? In the young male, this ignores significant individual variation, metabolisms, and surface area need. Does not estimate, does not the actual room. The core philosophy, human as biological heat generators, text in energy intake equals mechanical work plus internal heat. Except all. Convection, conduction, evaporation. To feel thermally complete, a person must thermally equilibrate within their room in their internal rate of heat generation matches the rate. Defense mechanism like heating, evaporating, cool, shivering, metabolism. The complete calculation pipeline. The thermodynamic engine translate basic inputs into customized room temperature, recommend to multi-slate. So user profile, age, weight, height, subjective preference, heat normalization, body surface area, scales and min surface area, and plus weight by kg determine that heat dissipation efficiency. Well, it calculates resting calories a day, converts that daily into what's determined into thermal power. Neutral starting point of 22 for SAM. Shift set point based on SAM deviation from baseline. Applies ignite and offset based on thermal preference. Sleep cycle check if the stimulated time falls in the reduce set point by Fahrenheit. Accept all. Alright, so I think we do got the weather API done too. So yeah, so we've got multiple systems now. Now let me think what we have built. Like we have explanation.txt file. All right, project overview, this project channel, and like let me just zoom that out. And I think we would have got the Arduino sketch by now. Okay, no, it's still compiling sketch. Environmental weather data set. Project structure, I don't care about that. Mathematical and logical sunlight detection layer. Redundancy false. Example JSON response. Execute commands, open terminal, run. Now what I want you to do is make sure this checks every 15 minutes, change dictionary. JavaScript run. Now what I want you to do is like I want you to make sure that this there's a system running behind. Like as soon as like the user open up the app, this weather API is like continuously update itself in every 15 minutes. So like the information about their like the environment, the temperature, the humidity, and everything is updating every 15 minutes, right? So that is like the one thing, guys. But then again, that is not the entire thing, right? Because now you'll say, okay, why Varric? Because we have multiple systems, right? And I also, Varric, I don't get what you mean by multiple system, and I'll tell you, okay? Right. So, okay, this is just too wrong, right? This is just too wrong. For right now, let me just get it connected. Expand working area. Primary screen area. Okay. Cross. Right, so now it's just gonna be here or around here, right? So no, actually, what did it fucking do? Expand, customize screen area. Like, let me, okay, it doesn't increase in size for some reason. Okay. Yeah, so now it would be easy, right? So yeah. Okay, so that means we only have working area till here. So first of all, we have like IBT. Okay, it's just not, it's working so wrongly, man. Okay, let me just then shift it to this or something like that, rather than like causing problem again and again for myself. So we would have like a T, right? I think 270, 180, 90, 0. Okay, no. 180. Right. So this is like this, and then we'll like full monitor primary customize set full screen. Yeah. So now this is like an entire screen. So now we can like know for like, yeah. Whoa, this is working just too fast. Okay, so now we have like a. Why the sensitivity is so high? Is there a way to increase the sensitivity? Or maybe it's because the screen is too big. I get it. So we have like a if you move around here and there, right? Yeah, finally we have like an area. So first of all, we have like IBT. Like yeah, so not IBT, like IB, yeah, ideal baseline temperature controls that, right? So this is like our ideal baseline temperature. We calculate and predict that with 22 degrees Celsius, right? And then we have like an estimate, like okay, we should increase this if like the body surface area is high or low on the basis of that. So like yeah, we add or remove like on the basis of like yeah our information that we have or something. Right, but first of all, we need like to like to have like a chain flow or something. So I need to redesign the entire system, right? So it's like the first calculate ideal baseline temperature, right? Like the entire thing, and then we have like a weather control which kind of like calculates the environment temperature. So it's like ideal baseline to once, and then we got a weather API that like you know that knows like outside temperature or something. So we've got like a weather API. Weather.api, right? So this gets us like the information about what's happening in the surrounding and stuff like that. So we also get that. But the main thing is like, okay, once we've got like IBT and weather API, the problem becomes how do we integrate them in such a way that like, you know, you have enough information. And is this, okay, compiling sketch has happened. We just need to go to tools, open Serial Monitor. And I know I shouldn't be like this, but okay, we need to update our EN, right? BME2 not found. Okay. I knew BME2 would not be found to some degree. Let's just see now, is it found or not? BME2 not found. Okay. I think this happened because we did one thing wrong. Anything could be the problem, but we did need to include or install one library, which is this IDNB. I think we kind of like eliminated the process. We would remove this and we would install it again. Right. And then we'll upload it again. And then we're going to check output again. But as we were here, like, so we were at IBT, right? Ideal baseline temperature and like API. But what do we need? Like, yeah, so we've designed a couple of systems, right? And I think I do need another system. Okay. I need another. Okay. Communication, I suppose. Google Gemini. Is logic consistent or not, right? Like that the logic is the main thing, right? Like yeah, so IBT, I need to improve IBT or something. Environmental temperature, so ideal body temperature is like indoor room temperature. We need to create a software that can actually take Android, like yeah, and can actually get like information from this too. So it's like yeah, you have three systems or something. Module com9. Okay, it's connected. We have like how many IBIT? Like yeah, we have like that. So if I just run it, located BME280 not found. It just shows that it's not found. Is it found now? I mean, it should be found. Right, I don't know what's causing the problem. Let's run it again. Two eight now found. Okay. Mm-hmm. About to take out IR receiver and plug these two bad boys differently, I suppose, guys. Plug these two bad boys differently than their positions. It's like yeah. Oh no, fuck no, I don't want to do that. So okay, what was the positioning once again? I need multiple monitors, bitch. Right. For all this, like I need. Oh, I already have multiple monitors. I need connections, man. I like each time I have to like I'm multitasking. Each time I have to switch like a tab and open up the thing again. Like, do you think I'm that fucking free? Now I need to scroll down to know the positioning. Okay, yeah, here it is. Thank goodness. Yeah. So this is connected pretty good. So we needed this to connect to what? D21, babe, D21. I don't know if the jumper wires are even working or not efficiently. Right? D21, they're kind of like fixed. And then we need to go to 3v3 and GND. Right, babe? 3v3 and DND. Right. Now, okay, this one wire is fucking me over again and again, guys. Software testing a software is so much easy. Oh my gosh, the wires are not causing problem. Like this is real life entropy. Okay, I've got the no, I've not got it wrong, which is great. And there's an like a ant or something. What's that? Bitch. Okay, bitch. Let me just get this here for a sec. I'm not gonna tolerate it again and again, okay? Let's hope it's connected. Not found. BME28 not found. Okay. You actually would never know where the problem truly is, or where like I think I have got them connected. SCL. Maybe I got the connection wrong or something. SCL is D22. Ah, I've got of what? Brown is D22. D22 SCL. So it's like I've got the connection wrong, but I can just simply shift them, right? Black is like okay. Wait a sec. Could you just get a side fucker? D21 is connected to black, and D21 is SDA, but D20. Okay. We got two errors. We can just interchange the position or something, right? Okay, interchanging the position is not recommended, I suppose. Okay, now it's a mess. Right. Connect that to it like this. Like that. Get this in DND. Get this in 3v3. Get this here and here. Let's hope that it is found. Okay. We would run again. Like okay, I didn't have to do that 2 times. BNA not found. Power reset. SPI flash 0. This. E not found. Mm-hmm. Okay, why is it not found? Is it the connectivity? I think I don't have any problem with connectivity. We need to debug this. We'll do the hardware part later. I don't know why am I even getting so much into hardware at this point. I mean, like, the problem with hardware is a lot harder, requires a lot more intelligence and experience, and you have a hard time fixing basic problems and yeah, stuff like that. Okay, but I do got started with hardware, so I do know hardware businesses, like, yeah, man, have it, like, they have it hell or something. But yeah, they have machines that kind of like produce. That's why they can't trust on humans or something, right? But I do need to fix that. I'll fix it later. But we should go back to our, like, yeah, our main design that we were kind of like focusing upon. Settings, reload. All right. Update. We needed to update every 15 minutes, right? And we are not doing hardware anymore. We need to go back to software and doing software. All right. So we need to update that. And what else do we need to do? Yeah. So I am clearly visible once again. What else do we need to do? Like, we need to, like, yeah. And I guess, like, if I remember, we were designing here. Pre eyes, like, yeah, so we got that. Right? Huh. They can, but I think what is the what is the logic, right? So I mean, like, yeah, let's go to my SaaS business and let's kind of like add a new chat. So so I was creating this, like, a sensor, like a software that could allow me to calculate like what is the, like, the room temperature should be for an AC, and I designed a couple of systems. The system one is like was the system that did its job. So what it did is, like, it kind of like takes in your basic information like male, age 28, weight, height, and like your sleep schedule and your thermal preference, like pretty much like, yeah, if it's run cold, neutral, something, and gives a basic estimation. But I guess that's kind of a, like, it calculates your ideal temperature, right? And I'm gonna send you the file which actually explains what's it's actually going through, like the entire thing of the program. So I'm gonna send you that. Right. And then I created like a weather API or something, which kind of like, yeah, so what you will be doing is, like, you would be checking how flawed the logic is or something in my system one. So I'm sending you the system one, right? Because what we are trying to do is, like, we are trying to calculate like yeah, we're trying to calculate like yeah, so we are trying to calculate the perfect ideal body temperature, not body temperature, but the room temperature someone needs or something, right? Then we created system number two, and what system number two pretty much does is, like, it gathers information, like, from the current, like, it uses weather API to gather information about the areas or somewhere, like, yeah, so certain stuff like that. And it also has like an explanation file which tells like what it pretty much does, and like, yeah, so I'll also add that to you, right? So then you can understand what's actually going on, right? Yeah. So that's the system number two, which kind of like calculates, and then we'll have another system that calculates, I guess, um, the power of the AC or something. So yeah, another system that calculates like information about the AC or something, right? So it can fetch information about it. Let's build that system. Okay, how about you generate an API, or sorry, How about you generate a prompt that allows me to gather information about AC? So like the app is gonna ask information about the AC and it will go online or something like weather API or something. It's gonna use anything it can use at its disposal to know, like like it can ask directly the ton, like the how like at what ton your AC is and like you know and stuff like that. But to pretty much know like how much electricity does the AC consume, how much electricity does it like how much coldness it provides, like how good it is or something, right? Like what kind of things like information do you think is like the most important that we need to know? I think it's just like how like strong the AC is. I think everything else is noise, right? Like what is like a couple of the most essential variables, like the most dominant variables we need here? Rated power consumption, energy its efficiency, good per unit electricity, multi cooling instead of simply turning on and off, supported temperature range, fan speed modes, how quickly air is distributed. Cooling capacity, rated power consumption, energy efficiency, IECR, inverter or non-inverter, available fan speed if available brand. Could you generate more trusted and like better prompt that could actually like can be trusted efficiently? Yeah, I will trust. I will do that. But right now, our biggest bottleneck is like the logic. Right. So it's like the logic is the big bottleneck. I mean, like, how is everything turning out? Even I am not able to know the logic of my own system that I'm designing at this point. This is what happens with prompt engineering too, I suppose. Like, you lose the, like, you lose what you're doing or something because everything is done by AI, like even the thinking, right? So it's like, yeah, I think this is one of the biggest problem with AI. Like, once you start using AI for everything, you don't know what's actually happening behind the scenes. Yeah. Official cooling preference 10 VMI electric preferences verification confidence code quality or store own database. Yeah. So AC, we've got AC, we've got like environmental temperature, we've got the perfect like yeah. I think we just need the room temp like room information or something. After that, that code will be done. Hum. Like yeah, this works. And like yeah, improve this. Outdoor temperature, the data should at minimum feels like temperature. So yeah, I mean like yeah, so we've got the first task is this, control V, and then we have shift enter. Second task is like this. I mean like yeah, in future coding would be easy as fuck, right? Copy, everyone would be coding in their house or something. Right. Yeah, so now that is working. We still haven't connected like our B2MO or something. I've did received our receiver or something. So yeah, I would ask ChatGPT what the fuck is happening here, and it should do or get this done, I suppose. So it asks AC tonnage. It asks like it updates the API. It's like, but yeah, we need to connect the system. We need to connect the logic. I think the logic is the most secret part of this. It's like, so now we got another main thing done, which is like AC integration. AC integration. All right. So we've got this done. We've got API integration. I would have to go downstairs for a minute, by the way. API, like, yeah, with our API, IBT, we need to improve logic. Improve logic. Like, yeah, I think the logic here is kind of messy. It's messy. If not, like, yeah, I need to check and know, like, yeah, integration, whether API, like, yeah, we need to do this. Like, improve this. I mean, like, yeah, we need to kind of like know what is the most important thing, the most important variables, and then we need to like in AC, what is the like most important things to know, most IMP, right? And then we need like our database, which is like how should we call it? Like our, I think the hardware is taking a lot of time to design and iterate. I like hardware is like literally stopping us, like the hardware for real time info, because I don't have a like a what do you call it? I don't have a AC. I need to connect the IR transmitter too, which is another problem. But how? Like I should have just like connected IR transmitter, right, to just send signal through SP2 boot. And but I've do got like IR receivers and everything. So yeah, we knew a hardware is like, because like yeah, we are designing our own hardware to know like how does everything works out. But then again, yeah, it only works if I accept all. No, it's still working. It will keep on adding more and more. Yeah, I'll be back in a minute, guys. I think the biggest problem in our design is that um like the speed of iteration is kind of slow, right? I mean, yeah, not slow, but you get the gist. Accept all. So we just need to reload our Android IDE. Mm-hmm. Weather details, okay. Retry failed to retrieve the fresh weather, okay. Okay. Uh, we need to give it feedback. I think we need to stop all this. And like, yeah, it says done. But like what I mean is like dismiss, right? And let's just go with let me give it more context so that it knows that what it needs to fix. Control V once again. It will fix this. But now, like guys, like the biggest issue is like we do not know like the logic. Mm-hmm. Explanation. Oh, it generates the same way it generated like. All right. So I think it was this, right? Okay, so they fixed it that quickly. Control C, backspace. But the biggest problem I'm running into is like, how do you determine? So first of all, we get the basic idea of like the room temperature someone would want. Second, we got environment, right? Like, yeah, so we know like how the environment is and how much environment is causing the current room temperature to be, right? And like the third, we got like an AC, and we can say, okay, how fast the AC can actually reach that room temperature, right? And then we can have like a machine learning algorithm that allows like the software to learn. But I still haven't built that. But the software to learn like what is the preference under which context, right? So you get this is like what I'm actually building or something, right? But what I control X allows you to delete, huh? And then I'm building the hardware that allows me to know my room indoor temperature and like allows me to receive and send signal to the AC, which still haven't been done actually. But yeah, I'm building that, right? But yeah, but I think the biggest problem I get, guys, is like I'm building everything simultaneously. It's like, yeah, I mean, maybe I should have get the hardware first, then like, yeah, rather than assembling it all by myself. I should have just bought something that can get connected to my computer or laptop, allows me to send and receive or something like, yeah, some kind of product out there. Is there some kind of product like that? That would have been a lot easier than what I'm actually trying to do here, right? Would have saved a lot of time and energy and effort and stuff like that. But I like, yeah, so this is like the entire logic, right? And I want to know like attack the logic and try to find out the problems, but at the same time validate some path that are awesomely good. All right. It's like try help me find out which is bad and which is good logic, right? Like what is, if there's something bad, if there's something good, that the logic is solid or not. Like, yeah. So we've got this. Uh-huh. Ah, it got copied or something. I don't know. Let me just backspace all that. Conceptual issue. User, humans, physiology, ideal room temperature, weather, AC, done. Plus environment, plus room physics, plus predicted. So AC dynamic control policy learning system. Those are different completely. What I think is excellent. There are several decisions here. Separating the weather. This is exactly what. Well, the weather doesn't belong inside a Thumper model. Weather is simply another sensor. Sensors, open metro with another API, weather station, government station, nothing else changes. Separation, AI specification, again, this is correct. Correct, it concerns completely. And what I want you to do is like, you have different systems like weather, like, you know, in file one, we have like a weather check systems that kind of like checks the weather, and then we have like a AC specification system that kind of like checks the AC specifications, right? And now there's another like the third system that actually tackles the ideal body temperature, or IBT, right? So what I want to do is like separate everything and connect them together once again. So it's like, what I want to do is like build folders for like weather, like, you know, we already have like a folder for weather check and AC, but build another folder called ideal baseline temperature, which allows us to like, you know, calculate like, you know, ideal baseline. So it's like where the calculation is happening, put all the file there, and then create the last folder, which is like the UI, right? It's like how like a user interface, right? So all the UI related part goes onto there. So what I want to do is separate every system here, right? So I know all of them are connected to some degree, and like, yeah, some of them are not yet connected. But what I want you to do is like separate everything into like into a systematic way, so I can know like this is system A, this is system B, this is system C, and like this is UI, which is, let's say, system D or something. So it's like you get what I'm trying to say, right? But now we can have ChatGPT improve this prompt, right? Because our prompt was like rather vague or something, but like it will improve this. And each time in the future, if I add you to something, like if I make you update something, right, there's always must have an explanation dot md file in every folder. So what it does is like it pretty much explains what the folder specifically, like what the files in the folder, which is a system, does, right? And like if I update that system, you'll update that explanation by itself without me even have to tell you to do that, right? That same goes for every folder or every system we are building here. Okay, guys, my screen went black, but for some reason on my stream it's working. So I can copy, and I don't know why it went black for some reason. Let me just check that out. Okay. It literally went black, guys, right? It literally went, for me black, for you it's showing. Maybe power outrage or something? Okay. Okay, it's the power, power offs. Right. So it's like ACs are not getting power at all. Right. So we have no choice but to shift it. I guess we need to shift our what they call like the screen. Right. So we got like a video capture. Like we need to change. I think, I don't know. Like literally what happened? Like the only reason my stream is currently running is because it's my phone. My like it's connected to my phone, and the only reason it's because like everything is working on my laptop, but soon enough my laptop will lose the battery and we won't be able to run the stream or something. right? But that is the point. Like, what happened? Light went off, but mine is connected to inverter. This has never happened before, so I don't know. But like, yeah, let's get back to work again. Video capture. I mean, I just switched the no, sorry, audio display capture, right? So I'm just gonna, for now, like, yeah, you guys can see the display capture, like, yeah, it's showing, like, yeah, so I really don't want you to see this, guys, but like, yeah, you get the gist, right? So we're gonna shift to Android, like, yeah, man, this is so hodgepodge. System AC specification, AC. I never wrote component widgets, layout, theme, style, navigation icon. No, it's like, it should, I never said baseline temperature. Let me just minimize that for some reason, and let me just go to like here. The thing you did in the prompt is wrong, because like the system already includes, like, weather system already has its own file, AC specification system and ideal baseline temperature already has its file, so you don't have to actually explain the AI to actually have those. But yeah, but you see, like, you see what I'm saying, like, don't like improve the prompt, but yeah, it already has designed the system. What I'm just doing right now is separating, so I improve the prompt that way. Redesign, reader, the code, assume the weather. Yeah, I mean, I need to check. I want you to redesign performance. While preserving all existing functionality. No, 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 no. Let's end it. Dedicated folder. Folder. Yeah, so now it's gonna improve that, and the lights still haven't come now. That's worrying me, because then we have to end the stream, because like, yeah, and the screen is so fucking small. I can finally see what I was working with. Right, AC specification. This is correct cooling power. Then again, you have separate concerns. Human model. This is also the right direction. Instead of everyone produce different heat. Exactly how Genji actually does this. It doesn't design building around magic temperature. Then around heat balance. Now let's get now here what I think began to fail. Ideal. You're trying to estimate ideal room using only AHI 6. Experience surprisingly. Let's compare two people. Body power lifter. Person B 35% body weight. Sedentary. Resting metabolic. Okay, same age. Entirely different thermal behavior. Algorithm predicts nearly identical temperature. Reality won't. Okay. Body fat is gigantic missing variable. Probably one of the missing. But then again, we cannot have body fat, right? We cannot just ask someone, okay, what is your body fat? Problem two. BSR is not the same as heat production. Your document says convert BMR into watts. Scientifically, that's fine, but humans don't spend their BMR at all. Suppose I'm trying to meet. Clean the gym, it does sleep at night. Your body heat changes continuously. The AC shouldn't optimize around BSR. It should optimize around current metabolic rate. That's huge. Problem 3. Sam is real physics very good, but the influence on the comfort is much smaller than clothing. Humidity, air temperature, radiant temperature. Okay. Those dominate indoor comfort. Actually, research showed this repeatedly. Clothing, humidity, airspeed, radiant temperature. A large weight. I suspect it is overpowered. Problem. This is actually why, because preferences don't after dinner, cold, after fasting, hot. Your personality, it's statistical. This replace runs cold and hot with perceived preference history. Huge improvement. Well, some people sleep in the blanket, comfort fan. Like, yeah. This requires offset of very several degrees. The parameter should eventually become low. Problem 622 baseline. This is probably the weakest assumption. There is no universal. The thermal neutrality depends on humidity, air velocity, radiation. Is built around those. Humidity, air velocity, radiation, clothing, and activity. Okay, so activity, clothing, radiation, air velocity. We need these dominant variables, right? So I can have them. I need my multiple screens to work. And this is why I love laptops so much, right? I mean, like, yeah, I mean, they can be run, like, yeah, but yeah, it's like I'm streaming right now and it's like it will last the remaining 30 minutes, okay? It gets surprisingly faster, DK, right? So we would have to end it within 30 minutes. If that doesn't work out, we'll just close the laptop. So yeah, IBT, AOT, like all of those systems were like, yeah, outside temperature, ideal baseline temperature, room and AC conditions, cal, like, yeah, so we have like system D, which like, yeah, so, but it's like, from the daily no, we can have like, no space left on the device, right? What? No space left on device? Okay, what was that fucking issue about? Control V. Oh no, not this. ChatGPT. We have like a humidity term, according to like their research, humidity, air velocity, radiation, clothing activity. These are the most ASHRAEs. Okay, I don't know how to pronounce that, but I think it appears to be like a ASHRAE is an American Society of Heating, Refrigerant, and Air Conditioning Engineers and dedicated to serving humanity and promoting a sustainable world through advancement of heating, refrigerant, and air conditioning technology. Images. Okay, it's 50,000 engineers. ASHRAE. All right. ASHRAE. So we need to kind of like focus on that. This part is good. You currently put outside temperature, humidity, sunrise, sunset, clouds. Good. But indoor comfort depends far more on wind speed, wind direction, UV intensity, atmospheric pressure, dew point, wet bulb temperature, heat index. These affects how much heat enters the house, how fast wall heats up, how much AC must fight. You're treating weather as current weather. Okay, they updated it. Right. Accept all. Right, so now we have multiple systems, AC, weather, right, UIs. And where is my IBT, idle body temperature system? Okay, but where is the temperature that okay, but where is the system that actually calculate ideal body temperature? Our ideal baseline temperature or whatever. Okay. No, this is not it. Code. Oh, IBT systems. Okay, we have systems, IBT, weather, UI. But then why you have created two system folders, right? I mean, only one system folder would have been more than enough. You create two system folder and when there's AC specification and weather, and then there's another system which has IBT and weather, right? I mean, why there's multiple folder for systems? Or like, is there, you can actually give me a reason if you have that, or did you accidentally did that? Right, guys. Thought for one, there is a clear structural reason for it, and it is really the split client side mode code and server side backended. Okay, so there is a there he did that. So yeah, that's all right. IBT, this is our thermodynamic profile. Oh my gosh, it calculates a lot. Right, so but we need to change our shift according to ChatGPT. Outside suppose itna room itna the walls remain hot 4 hours, weather change room didn't. The building stores that. I'm seeing system 4 right now. You have system 1 human weather, system 3. The room itself is a thermal battery. It stores heat, leaks heat, gains energy, loss without modeling the room. Yeah, you have the room, like, yeah, so we have like human, we have like the weather, we have the AC. Without modeling the room, you cannot alternately predict AC behavior. The room should include variables like doom dimension, ceiling height, wall material, insulation quality, window area, window orientation, outside glass type, number of occupants, heat generating appliances, indoor temperature and humidity, air leakage. Which is simplified, like even simplified version of these dramatically improved prediction. Now we arrive at machine learning. Here's where I think you enter run preference under each concept. Exactly. I wouldn't ask the model where temperature do you like. I do ask what happened. For every example, for outside 38, humidity itna, indoor itna, fan 2, compressor 48, time itna, sleeping yes, user changed, AC no, user manually increased temperature no, user manually decreases yes. Label data point if user changed it to the system just like in this context my prediction was 2% too warm. This is more valuable than asking preference explicitly. The control problem. System stop predicting temperature, it predicts action. For example, generate itta. Within 10 minutes, confidence 95, accent start cooling down. Stronger objective than merely outputting an ideal temperature. If I were to redesign the architecture, I would split 6 independent modules. Human module, physiology, circadian states. Circadian state, current activity, clothing eventually. Module, the outside environment, forecast, solar radiation, wind, humidity. Forecast, solar radiation, wind, and humidity. Weather model, like a room model, thermal mass, heat leakage, solar gain occupancy. Sensors, AC model, cooling capacity, fan cups, efficiency, response time. Control model, okay, what was that, bitch? What can actually done that? Okay. Now, of course, this. What? Not this or this. Minimize, where? What? Actually, you know what? Minimize, we'll reload if everything works. Psychology captures meaningful first of a bit often solid foundation, though it needs future environment variables to building controlled safe. Adaptive control policy. It currently targets a static ideal temperature. Like, yeah, so it's like an adaptive system that kind of like changes its variables. Okay. Battery is running fast because so many apps are running. Okay. And if you run the program, we can minimize now. No, not reload. Let's just try to run it. Okay, remove the thermal preferences. And it's still not able to fetch the. Okay, lights still aren't back. I need to add system 4. Learning system. Okay, control model. Design when and how to operate AC based on system constraints. Okay. AC model, room model, weather model. Okay, so what should room model look like? Like the most efficient and most dominant variables that we need. And I also want you to tell me, like, what does these, like, you know, there's Havok Engineering and there's like this organization you mentioned. Like, I don't know the exact name, but there's this organization you constantly mention, right? Which is kind of really famous. I searched it, they have more than 50,000 engineers. Right. The like ASHRAE or something, ASHRAE, right? Yeah. So according to them, what is like the most dominant variable? So it determines like you know what the room temperature should be set at for every person. Like so, for example, if you can know these four dominant variables, and if you can know that the person actually sets like you know this much, like you know if the person actually sets this temperature when these four condition like you know when these variables have this value, right? So it's like so we can successfully a lot of time predict like what's gonna like yeah. So what are the most dominant variables which allows us to predict like according to this bigger organization and according to you too? Can I close you for now, really? And can I? Mm-hmm. We'll now connect. Okay. Retry connection. Connection to environment. It's still okay. 39-degree pixel. Humidity. No direct sunlight. Okay. Yeah, but I think we need to do an entire redesign, right? Now I want to take AC information because I want to take it like continuously take information right from the user. So like yeah. Hmm. So we need to do that. Okay, try again. All right. I did send it a prompt, right? Okay, man, this small screen is so small that if I can hide it. Because extremely, this is actually where the organization you're referring to, ASHRAE, right? We need to get. Oh my gosh! I think guys, we need to close the stream at this point. Like it's gonna get power off soon. Let me call my mom. What happened? Let me ask her. Right. Mm-hmm. So guys, I think I have to kind of like quit the stream because like fuck, it's 30% and gonna get the power off in 11 minutes, and we are fucked because of electricity or something. But I have to stop, and I'll go downstairs and continue with what I'm building. But yeah, we'll meet tomorrow in like yeah, we'll get more hardware done. And tomorrow I'm kind of like thinking of doing two systems. It's like morning studying and afternoon I'm gonna go back to code or something and like stream 2 times in a day or something, right? You get the gist. But that's gonna happen a lot in the like tomorrow or something. But yeah, bye for now.